Nike and the NBA are obviously playing favoritism with certain players. We notice that some players get bigger opportunities than others. And right now, it's hurting not only the NBA, but worldwide global basketball.
Nike is moving like the mob in sports.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown don't play for the U.S. team. Wiggins is not playing for Team Canada.
No.
Bobo had private issues that made him not play for Team Sudan.
Private issues.
Private issues. My main thing is Nike and our government got their hands entwined to the NBA. The NBA is a very influential force. And with a lot of forces in terms of influence falling by the wayside, the NBA is really all they got. I truly feel that the U.S. team has to win so they could use Braun and Kendrick Lamar as pieces to use for Kamala to win the election against Trump. They gonna be on stage with Kamala saying they not like us. Secondly, with Nike, their stock is falling down.
Yeah, they haven't been selling sneakers.
So they need the U.S. team to win. He called the Warriors, hey yo bro, Wiggins can't play for Canada.
I noticed that we have situations where certain players are put up to a pedestal and certain ones are not. Like Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is signed to Nike.
Right.
Okay? Anthony Edwards even has not been featured on this Olympic team the way he should be. Yes. I don't feel like Steph Curry should be starting over Anthony Edwards. Now, Steph Curry is Under Armour, but I don't feel like Steph Curry should be starting over Anthony Edwards. I feel like Anthony Edwards should be the focal point of that team.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, when you look at what happened to Luka, he gets a lot of calls.
Right.
I'm not saying that Luka's a bad player. Luka's a great player.
Right.
But the type of calls and the type of opportunity that Luka gets as opposed to a Bobo, as opposed to a Andrew Wiggins. There's also something right now going on in the league where I feel like some people are allowed to eat, whereas some people are not. And it's not only because of Nike, but it's also for political reasons. Bobo has not been playing also because there was a revolution going on in Sudan. So when you have somebody like Bobo who's playing at a high level, what does it do? It starts to bring awareness to what's going on in these players' countries.
Yeah.
Bobo is not going to be allowed to play well. First off, Frank Vogel was willing to lose his job before he was even able to play Bobo.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So, because the NBA right now wants the European player at the forefront. Right. They've changed the rules of the game.
Right.
They've changed the way the game is called.
Right.
This has caused players to do what? Play weaker.
Right.
So now when they go and they play overseas, when they play overseas basketball, these are not the same American players that we had in the 90s.
No, it's not.
It's not. You don't have the strength and the viciousness. We just saw something with Sebastian Telfair where Sebastian Telfair said, yo, when I used to go out there and play and I used to get hype, they used to give me a tech.
Yes.
Michael Beasley wasn't given any opportunities. And a lot of guys would tell you that Michael Beasley used to smoke LeBron in practice all the time in one-on-one.
Right.
One more thing that I want to say is when you look at Andrew Wiggins, who even when he had more hype around him, he was never a Nike athlete.
Right.
He was Adidas.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So Andrew Wiggins wasn't given the proper opportunity that he needed until it was time for him to help Steph Curry win a championship.
Right.
Okay? Jaylen Brown, once he said that thing about Nike, he's not in the Olympics. He got finals MVP.
Right.
And not in the Olympics, and they dropped Kyrie. Kyrie is another guy who's not in the Olympics. Now, you could...
And he was also in the finals.
He was also in the finals, hit one of the greatest shots in NBA history to come back against the 73-9 Warriors.
Two American players that you could say is at least top 20 in the league, not on the U.S. team.
First off, Jason Tatum is on the U.S. team. Right. Jaylen Brown is better than Jason Tatum.
Right.
He got the finals MVP, and he literally earned every single accolade that he ever had.
Right.
And you picked Derek White.
Right.
I would tell you right now, even today, that Kyrie Irving is better than Derek White.
So let me say this.
And Jaylen Brown.
Would you say that Nike is hurting the league by moving like a mob?
I would say that not only is Nike hurting the league, but politics are hurting the league.
It is.
Because I know that you're trying to quote unquote sell to the European player, but it's about more than that. It's about more than that. because not only do you try to sell to Europe, you also want to give white Americans somebody that they can get behind in the NBA.
Yeah.
You know, but white Americans, I feel, they still cannot connect with Luka and Jokic the way that the NBA predicted that they would.
Yes.
Because it's about more than just a white face. Now, when you look at Cooper Flagg coming in, Cooper Flagg is gonna speak great English.
Yeah.
He's gonna have American charisma.
Right.
So if he's good, I have no doubt that the white fan base will get behind Cooper Flagg.
Right.
But the reason why I know that the white fan base is not getting behind Luka and Jokic is because look at the sales of the shoes.
Yeah.
Luka's not selling shoes. You know, now Nike is down on sales all around.
Right.
But I can tell you why. If you are not featuring your best players, how you gonna sell shoes?
But some people also say that it's not only about the players, it's about the economy. A lot of people can't afford a $200 pair of shoes. And Nike can't profit off of a $100 shoe.
Well, Nike can profit off a $100 shoe when the amount that it actually makes to make these shoes is $2 and $3.
Right.
So you can profit.
But, you know, you gotta pay the player, his contract. It's shipping that you gotta pay. It's a lot that you gotta, like, they gotta push up these prices so high,
right?
Because there's so much other factors going on.
And the economy is something that is also cut into it, but that goes back to politics.
Right.
You know, when you start to look at how much money is being funneled to Israel, the money that's being funded to Ukraine, and other places where the taxpaying dollar is going, you can't tell me that politically and just government-wise, there's no way that they could kind of take the monkey off of the back of the American people.
Right.
And you mentioned that there's no way that they can make it just a little bit better on the American man and woman.
Well, there's always a way. The reason why they don't want to do that is because when you got people in a scarce environment and they're always stressed and they always feel like they got to fight for a dollar, you have some sort of control over them.
Right.
And when people are so abundant and they don't really need you and they're strong, it's going to be hard to control them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But that ruins not only the NBA, that ruins all businesses.
So it's a domino effect.
Right. I just heard that Sam Ash is closing down.
Right.
Because you got kids not picking up instruments like they used to.
Right.
People not going to people are not playing sports like they used to. So that's why I say politically it's ruining not only the NBA but other industries.
It's politically and socially. When they made that choice to do the shutdowns to put everybody inside, most people's minds, especially the children, they gravitate towards the phones.
And it changed forever.
You know what I'm saying? So kids are not going out to play football and basketball. They're not going out to play the saxophone or play in the church band.
Right. And we have LeBron. We have Anthony Edwards. We have Anthony Davis. But let's be honest, if LeBron did not hit that layup against Sudan, they would have lost that game.
Now again, it was an exhibition.
It was an exhibition, but still.
And sometimes the U.S. players, especially the top guys in the world, they're going to take a step back and say, all right, we just going to chill. And when they decide to turn on and beat those guys, they did so.
Yes. Now, what I will say is this. Bobo did not play.
No, he didn't play.
So
with Bobo on the team, they
win by 10.
They would have a better chance to steal the game.
They win by 10.
Because I don't think if you had like a 7-game series, they will win the 7-game series against the U.S.
But they would have won that game by 10 because the U.S. couldn't go to sleep on Sudan.
Right.
The U.S. could go to sleep and beat a lot of guys, a lot of teams. I remember when back in the day they beat Nigeria by what was it, like 80 points?
60 to 80 points, some shit like that.
Yeah, they beat them. So they could go to sleep and beat those teams.
Right.
But when you look at a team like Sudan, who not only has Bobo, or would have had Bobo, but they got other players, and we all know that the Sudanese players are tall. They're big guys.
Right.
You got multiple guys over 6'5", 6'6", and even it looked like there was guys out there that was 6'10", 6'11", easy. Right. You know, athletic. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, what also is has me thinking is I've been seeing the memes of the Sudanese players mocking them. You know, saying how they worked out in huts and their training, you know, resources is not up to par, and they're just surprised on how the U.S. team almost lost on them. What people need to understand is that the Sudan team got players all over the world that's playing in pro leagues. It's not only in the NBA that they got players. It's also in the G League, in the Euro League, leagues all over the world. These are not pro players that just came out of nowhere from the trenches and they almost beat the U.S. team. Plus, let me say this. The Sudan got some of the tallest players in the world. So they're going to be able to compete with America in terms of rebounds, dunks, defense, things like that. Now, the U.S. team is still pro level. And in a 7-game series, the U.S. team is always going to have it. But don't sleep on these foreign teams. And let me say this too. Not only is Europe coming, Africa is coming. They have the athleticism and they're starting to catch them in terms of the resources. Also, Luol Deng was coaching that team.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
That I didn't know. That's wavy.
Yeah,
that's wavy. So even besides the video, that's hard.
Luol Deng was coaching that team. You gotta give him some credit,
so
bro.
my thing is that Luol Deng was a great player.
Yeah.
Now, when you say that, they always say that the European teams are coming. You know why? Because when you think European, you think white.
Right.
So it gives people the great white hope thing. And I am gonna say it. I'm not saying that Luka is a bad player. Luka's a great player. But tell me why Slovenia did not qualify.
If the Europeans are coming.
If if the Europeans are coming, there's no reason why Slovenia should not qualify for the Olympics. And then Serbia goes out there with Nikola Jokic.
Right.
And gets annihilated in an exhibition.
And let me say this too. In the next Olympics, I would love to see players from Nigeria come together and play for the Nigerian team.
Yes, I would love to see Giannis because Giannis is Nigerian. Okay? He's not Greek.
Right.
He had to change his last name to what's the term I'm looking for?
To the Greek alphabet.
He had to change his name to the Greek alphabet.
Yeah, whatever it was. But like they changed certain letters to match,
so it could be easier to pronounce in Greek or something like that, whatever. But he's Nigerian.
Right.
Okay? Joel Embiid should not be playing for the U.S. team.
He's Cameroonian.
He should be playing for Cameroon.
Yeah.
So people only want to give the European teams credit. First off, guess what? We always knew that Spain was good.
France is good too.
France is good. I got something to say about France. France is good, right? But we always knew Spain was good. You had Paul Gasol. We know.
Right.
The Spaniards been good since we was kids.
Right.
Okay, so when people said that the Europeans is coming, I was always saying they're coming. They've been here for a while. You have Spain. Right. But Spain is like the gold standard of European basketball.
Right.
In my fair opinion.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, Ricky Rubio, he's Argentinian.
No, he was also Spanish as well.
So Ricky Rubio is also from Spain.
Right.
Ricky Rubio, Paul Gasol, Marc Gasol. Okay. Spain has always been.
And Argentinians, yeah, they're South American.
Right.
Technically, but a lot of their genetics come from Europe.
Right. So, and who's Argentinian in the NBA right now?
Well, the only one that I know of that retired is the guy from the Spurs. I always forget his
Manu
name.
Ginobili?
Manu Ginobili.
So Manu Ginobili was amazing.
He was amazing.
He was a great player. And where was Dirk Nowitzki from?
Dirk Nowitzki is from Germany.
He's Germany. So Dirk Nowitzki was, in my opinion, Dirk Nowitzki, in my eyes, is still the greatest the greatest European international player of all time.
Right.
I don't think that Luke is better than him yet.
Right.
I don't think that you could put Jokic over him yet.
Right.
Dirk, in my eyes, is the greatest European player.
Right.
I cannot say the greatest international player because I would still give that to Hakeem Olajuwon.
Right.
You still have to give that to the actual players that have won multiple championships and that have done great things in the league.
Right.
So, but now when people talk about international, I feel like they mostly talk about European players. But one point that I do want to get at is when you look at the France players, because you mentioned France.
Yeah.
I do think that Wemby is amazing. I think that Rudy Gobert is great. Alex Sarr right now is not doing any better than Bronny James.
Right.
And what I want to say about, once again, going back to the overseas players, people talk, the overseas are coming. Are the overseas players or the international players, are they coming, or are the U.S. players getting worse?
Right.
Because there's no reason why you put Alex Sarr out there and the number one pick, what's his name from, who's the number one pick from this year?
I forgot his name, but go ahead.
Okay. When Zion Williamson was the number 1 pick, nobody forgot his
Everybody
name.
knew.
When LeBron James was number 1 pick, nobody forgot his
Everybody's
name.
knew.
When Andrew Wiggins was the number 1 pick, nobody forgot his name. When Kyrie Irving was the number 1 pick, everybody knew his name. You understand what I'm saying?
Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose. Everybody knew Derrick Rose. We are sitting here not even trying to play. We sitting here and we don't know the number 1 pick name. There's no reason why the number 1 and the number 2 pick of the NBA should not be completely outshining Bronny James in the Summer League. I'm sorry. There's no reason why. I'm looking at Bronny. People saying what they want about Bronny. They talk about nepotism. They talk about all of this stuff. But when I see LeBron Jr. play, I say, he's about as good as the number 1 and the number 2 pick. The number 1 and the number 2 pick are not 54 picks better than him. Because Bronny is the 55th pick, right?
Right.
He's the 55th pick in the entire draft.
Right.
If Bronny is the 55th pick in the entire draft, you cannot tell me right now that Alex Sarr is 54 picks better than Bronny. But if LeBron, you take 2003 LeBron and you put him in this draft, oh yeah, he's 54 picks better than Bronny.
Right.
You take Zion, oh yeah, he's 54 picks better than Bronny. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
The NBA is lowering. And actually, one more thing I want to say, because there's other players. Jahlil Okafor did not get the opportunity, even though he should have.
Right.
Michael Beasley. But also, too, you got to bring up guys like DeMarcus Cousins. Guys talk about shooting big men. Guys talk about Jokic. DeMarcus Cousins was shooting threes. Right. And he was scoring on the inside, dominant.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And did they give DeMarcus Cousins a chance? No. Luka is sitting there.
DeMarcus had a lot of injuries.
Bro, he had injuries later on. But at first,
he was getting his playing time.
At first, I feel like he should have been pushed more, because people talk about his issues with the refs. People
Right.
talk about the passion of these players. Every time they want to talk and be a little passionate, people say that they're an issue.
Right.
They're doing it right now with Angel Reese.
Right.
And then talking about, Caitlin Clark plays the game the right way. No. Passion is passion. You take guys on the street. Go to any street ball game right now.
Right.
Are guys getting passionate out there? And these are guys working 9 to 5.
Right.
They eat donuts.
So you saying that the NBA is starting to lose its passion?
The NBA not starting to. They've already lost their passion. To where when you look at a guy like Anthony Edwards, he was such a breath of fresh air in the playoffs.
Right.
To where guys started comparing him to Jordan and all of these guys. And I'm not saying that he's not as good as Jordan. What I'm saying is, it's been such a long time since people saw passion, that when they saw it, even if his stats and his game wasn't matching up to Jordan, when they saw the passion that he brought, that's what they compared to Mike.
I do believe that the drive to compete has kind of dwindled in the NBA.
Yes.
You know, but also too is, guys are making an insane amount of money. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard for a lot of guys to stay that driven. One thing I give credit to Kobe is Kobe was driven. And Kobe was like the golden boy from the moment he came into the NBA. You know what I'm saying? And he was driven from day one to the last day that he was in the NBA. You gotta give credit. Jordan really set like the president, but now it's different. And people, act like Bron is the one who kind of started this era of people not caring. He's so consistent. And to be 40 years old and still come to work most of the time is not bad. Yeah, he take days off, but he's 40 in the NBA. 40 in the NBA is literally like Biden in the White House right now. And Biden had to step down.
Yeah. Let me tell you something about Bron. We have our things about Bron in terms of socially.
Right.
It took LeBron to hit that game-winning layup against Sudan.
It did.
Do y'all understand that when y'all talk about Bron, right? Understand that a lot of y'all favorite players in the league would not be getting paid as much as they're getting paid without LeBron.
That's a fact.
LeBron literally held the NBA on his back for more than a decade.
20 plus years, two decades.
For 20 plus years. Steph Curry's great. A lot of these guys are good, even KD. But everybody knows who was really, really putting asses in seats.
Bro, there's a kid right now who was born in 2003. He probably 20 years old. He got a couple of kids already, and he lives somewhere in the country. LeBron was drafted, and there's people who've been born and have had whole families. Generations have come, and that man is still in the league.
Generations have come. Listen,
Braun been in the league from Bush to Obama to Trump
To Biden.
And we about to have another president. And Braun's still going to be in the league.
he's gonna be in the. He's definitely gonna be in the league right now.
Through 5 presidents?
5.
Has anybody done that before?
No, absolutely not. So when people talk about Braun is still the gold standard of athletics in America. So when you talk about driven,
And about to hold the flag for the Olympics for the U.S.
as he
Olympics.
should.
There we go.
So when you talk driven and toughness, guys don't say that LeBron is tough. He's not tough. A lot of y'all can't go to the gym and do a pull-up.
Right.
A lot of y'all are in y'all 20s and 30s and can't do anything athletic.
Right.
This man has been doing things that put wear and tear on the body for 20 years at a high level.
Yeah. So basically, we giving credit to Braun, but also understanding that the U.S. team just needs to be better in general. Because when Braun leaves,
Then what?
Braun is what's saving y'all.
Then what?
The politics that y'all doing is not saving y'all. It's only because you got the greatness of these players. It's not only Braun, it's Curry, it's KD. A lot of these guys, once they leave, what people going to do now? A lot of people are saying Edwards, but they're not shining the light on Edwards because he signed with Adidas.
Because he signed with
The NBA got to look at Nike and say, listen, we want our company, our corporation to still thrive and get better, and you kind of bringing us down.
Listen, companies come and go. I'm not saying that Nike is about to go, but without Michael Jordan, Nike would not be where it is today.
No, I want to be.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Nike has been and always will be built off athletes.
Yeah.
They are not necessarily a fashion brand like.
And let's be honest too, not all athletes are marketable.
No,
So,
absolutely not.
It's not like Michael Jordan, you know, he's great, but you can't take the same blueprint from Mike and put on other players.
Absolutely not.
And that's the reason why there's so much athletes, but people don't gravitate towards them as much because of social media. You know what I'm
Listen,
saying?
how are you gonna? That goes back to the politics of things.
Right.
How are you gonna sell somebody that has no personality?
Right.
How are you gonna sell somebody that you haven't empowered to have a personality?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
When these players get up there and they talk and they playing and they could dunk on somebody and they could scream over his face, knowing that his wife and kids is in
No,
in the
sure.
stands,
For sure.
bro, that's what makes somebody say, I'm gonna go buy that shoe. You know, politics also, when you change the actual lifestyle of people,
Right.
when people are less athletic just on average,
Right.
when people are less driven just on average.
Yeah, and the league is definitely less athletic than it used to be.
Yes.
If you see any of the
Top picks.
No. If you see any of the M1 street ball from back in the day, I'm not talking about all the dribbling. I'm talking about some of the guys that would just dunk. There was one guy called A up there. There was one guy who did a 720 dunk. These was not NBA guys.
These dudes coming off the block.
These was guys from the block doing 720 dunks, doing crazy dunks. I'm telling you right now, people in general are not as athletic as it used to be. So when people tell me that the NBA today is more athletic, that's nonsense.